Amen. Grab a seat. Thank you, team. Let's show our appreciation to the crew. Thanks so much, Dave. If you came in a little bit after 9:30, you might have missed that Bex Opie is not doing so well this morning. It's not serious. She has a cold, Bex. And so pretty late yesterday, the phone call went to Dave, and Dave's like, sure, from YWAM. Dave's like, sure, I'll worship lead. So thanks so much for blessing us. Real good. Hey, I remember several years ago, a group of young adults in the church that I was in organised themselves with some other not so young adults to do the Tongariro crossing. And they doing that right before Christmas, something like 23rd of December. And so part of the training, my senior pastor at the time and I would go out on Mondays, our day off, and we would go out to Lake Okataina, and we would walk from the Lake Okataina boat ramp all the way through to the Tarawera Saddle. Anyone done that walk? I know some of you have. Look, our borders are closed. We live in a phenomenally beautiful country. Get out there amongst it. So if you want a good walk, it's not too arduous, is it, Michelle? You've done it a lot. You can walk from that boat ramp through the Tarawera, and it is spectacular. If you keep going a little bit further, it's like the whole of the Tarawera Channel goes into a hole in the ground. And then you walk a little bit further on, and it comes out a hole in the cliff, and it's spectacular. Anyway, I digress. But get out there amongst it and enjoy this beautiful country that we've got. As part of my our preparation, we were doing that walk, and I kind of wanted to make the most of my walking training, my fitness, getting my fitness up. And so I would memorize verses. And sometimes, because I was younger and my brain was so much sharper, I would memorize chapters. And we even disciplined ourselves sometimes to memorize books of the Bible. Amazing. I was going to say young people get into it, but people get into it. It'll transform your mind. I remember doing this. I'd go, instruct those who are rich in this present world not to be conceited or to fix their hope. Instruct those who are rich in this world not to be, instruct those who are, instruct those. And I was walking in a straight line, but I've got camera angle. I'd memorize verses, and one of the verses that I'd remember, or some of them, are the verses that we're going to look at today. 1 Timothy chapter 6, verse 17 and 18. I learned it in the New American Standard Version, and I kind of moved off that now. And I now kind of read the New Living Translation. I want to thank someone, a friend of mine, who has generously given me this Bible just this week. Isn't that kind of a good thing to do, give your pastor a Bible? You know why I like it? It's got really big font. Seriously. Look at that. You can probably read it from there. It's what? Paper. Oh, paper. Yeah. Wow. All right. Cool. Here we go. I hope you're laughing and smiling now, because I've got to warn you, this is going to get rough. It's going to get rough. I'll give you a heads up. It's going to get rough not because it's me, but it's because the Word of God kind of has something to say, I believe, to every single one of us. No matter what our age, no matter what our circumstance, I believe these verses are applicable and relevant, and they're going to be a bit rough. So just don't get mad at me, all right? If you want to get mad at someone, maybe God or the Apostle Paul, but I better read them. Verse 17 of 1 Timothy chapter 6 reads this way. Tell those who are rich in this world not to be proud and not to trust in their money, which will soon be gone. But their trust should be in the living God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and should give generously to those in need. Always be ready to share with others whatever God has given them. And so I remember learning these Bible verses. I could recite them. And I remember thinking, yeah, God, tell those rich people to share with me because I'm in need. Tell them rich turkeys at church to share with me because I'm in need. See, Kelly and I had just shifted from Auckland, and some would look on, go, you guys are on the corporate ladder. You're double income, you're no kids, you got cars, you got phones, you're in management, you'd bought property in good areas in Auckland, and we'd gone from that kind of income to me doing a youth internship. So come on, you rich people. Share with me because I have need. Has anyone ever thought that when they read these kind of verses? You kind of like transition it onto somebody else? Here's the thing. Recently, we had a whole string of stuff happen in our life that caused us to do repair and maintenance. The first thing that went was our weed eater. I don't think I quite got the mix right. It popped a hole in the piston, so it still went, but it had no compression. So I was like, we've got a lot of banks to weed eat, so on trade me, got a killer deal, but had to replace our weed eater. Soon after the weed eater was, this is even worse, the ride-on lawnmower. Kelly Carson, it has 4 wheels, not 3. The three-wheeler one went south. So the belt went on the ride-on lawnmower, so I was like, I can do this. So I went down to the ride-on shop, got a new belt. It was about $70 for a belt. Went home, put that on. A few weeks later, the pulley that the belt was on blew to pieces. So that's beyond me. I'm good, but not that good. So I'll call someone, get that fixed. That was about, I don't know, that was over $200. Whew. Then, about a few weeks after that, it blew apart. The belt disintegrated, and the pulley thing that we'd paid a couple $100 to be fixed blew apart again. So 3 repairs on the ride-on, adding up to over $500. While the guy was there fixing the ride-on, I said to him, hey, can you service the push mower? But it wasn't number 1 push mower, it was number 2 push mower, who actually is our daughter's. Don't tell her that we broke it. She doesn't know, we just got it fixed. But we did that. It went on from there, it gets worse. It gets worse. The dishwasher went on the fritz. Yeah, the young people feel the pain of that. There's 9 people that live in our house. During lockdown, there was 10. And when you don't have a dishwasher, your world. So way too long, start chasing these people. They're like, it's just under $400 to repair. And so Kelly and I are in this conversation. Do we get it repaired? Do we flick it and get a new one? All right. You still with me? So it doesn't stop there. You rich people, share. Hold on. The fridge. Now, the fridge is 2-door. And so when you open these 2 doors, there's a little flap on the fridge. And the flap doesn't return to where it's supposed to return. And people that don't go slow just try and slam it harder. So that's a repair. The washing machine. I'm serious, people. The washing machine, the buttons don't work, which is fine if you want to do delicate small load all the time. My hunting clothes do not go good on delicate small loads. For the washing machine, but wait, it doesn't stop there. During lockdown, with the 10 people in our house, boy, oh boy, did we field complaints about how slow the Wi-Fi was. It is so slow. Why is it so slow? Well, there's 10 people in the house, and several of them have got 3 devices. You getting where I'm going? Dad, I'm the only person in our school that has an iPhone 4. It is so... I did not say that. It is so embarrassing. Are you getting? Are you getting? Tell those who are rich. Tell those who are rich. Carly and I, we're incredibly rich. We're wealthy. Internet, two-door fridge, right on, Wi-Fi, devices. We're rich. And so when I read these verses, my mind does not go and tell those turkeys to share with me because I'm in need. It's like, Steve, you better be sharing with those who are in need. You know, I think that I don't feel rich because of margin. And maybe this is why you don't feel rich as well. So no matter what your income is, or no matter how much you receive in, it probably doesn't equate to what goes out. And so you don't feel rich because there's no margin. And if there's no margin, there's no peace, right? You got stress in your life because you don't know how you're going to bring the two to reconcile. That would be one reason why we don't feel rich, even if we are rich. And the second reason I think that we don't feel rich is social media. We're so busy, almost obsessed with looking at what everyone else has got, the cars that they drive, the holidays that they take, the food that they eat, their pets. And we look at that and we go, how come my life's so sucky compared to what they have? And so we fall into this comparison trap where we're like, hold on, I'm not rich. And if I was a little more rich, I could have the lifestyle that they have. We get into that comparison thing. That's just my take on why we might feel that way. But here's the reality. By international standards, if you have sufficient food, decent clothes, live in a house or apartment, or have reasonably reliable transport, you are amongst the top 15% of the world. We're in the 15%. Anyone celebrate that? But wait, there's more. If your income was $25,000 or more annually, you're in the top 10% of the world. Top 10%. Yeah, I'm a 10%er. Anyone feeling rich yet? Nope. It's coming. It's coming. If you have money saved, a hobby that requires some equipment or supplies, a variety of clothes in your closet, 2 cars in any kind of condition, and live in your own home, you are in the top 5% of the world's wealthy. Come on. You realize who he's writing to, right? You got it yet? He's not writing it to them. He's writing it to me. He's writing this to you. But wait, there's more. If you earn more than $50,000 annually, you are in the top 1% of the world's income earners. If you have more than $500,000 in assets, you're part of the richest 1% of the world. Honey, we're 1%ers. We are in 1% of the wealthiest people in the world. I reckon a whole lot of people in this auditorium would fit in that category. Certainly within the top 10. So what I don't want us to do is to do what I did as an intern and go, yeah, you rich people, give to me, I'm in need. What I want us to do is to go, God has entrusted us with much. And he's not against, he's not opposed to us having much. We can see in the Old Testament Abraham, Job, Solomon. In the New Testament, Lydia, Dorcas, and Philemon. They were characterized or known for their financial wealth. God is not opposed to us having possessions and good finances. But when we're possessed by our possessions, that's a whole new ballgame. So the scriptures tell us, the instruction is that we would use that wealth that He's entrusted us to do good. I did tell you it was going to get rough, right? Thanks, Maya. Oh, it's getting higher as I get older. So God's not opposed to that, but Ecclesiastes 5:19 is a pretty phenomenal verse. This is so incredible. And it is a good thing to receive wealth from God. Yeah, it doesn't get much straighter than that. And good health to enjoy it. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for a strong body and a sound mind. To enjoy your work and accept your lot in life, this is indeed a gift from God. Do you realize the ability to enjoy what He has entrusted us is a gift from God? You ever met miserable wealthy people? I'm one of them sometimes. But it's a gift from God to be able to enjoy what He has entrusted us with. It's getting good. All right, and so in these verses, I love it because there's kind of some force here. He says, teach those. And depending on what translation you read, but it will be command those, charge those, instruct those, teach those who are rich in this world not to be proud and not to trust in their money, which is so unreliable. And so I want to look at three components in these three verses. The three components are this. There is a danger to avoid, a duty to fulfill, and a development to consider. You ready? Here we go. Thursday last week, not this week just gone, but the week before. Thursday last week, me and a buddy went tramping with rifles. Our pastor has become so PC. No, we went hunting, me and a couple of mates. And we got to there about midday and to this lookout place, and we decided where we were going to go and what we were going to do. And so they went off their way, and I said, I'm going this way, and I'll meet you back at the hut. We'll have dinner. Cool, see you then. And so I went to this track. I've been to this hut maybe 4 times. But a couple of years ago, a swing bridge, a large swing bridge that was there, got washed away, and they haven't replaced it. Doc, please replace the swing bridge. So I walked down to this peninsula, and I walked down the river, looking at the river. I walk up the river, looking at the river, and I decide, here's the place for me to cross. Now, how do I say this? I didn't think too much about it, all right? Just looked at the river, thought, oh yeah, I've walked this river heaps. And so, in I go, decide this is where I go. And I walk across, got my pack on, maybe, I don't know, not too heavy, 15 kg, 20 kg. Unbuckled it, because that's what you do when you cross a river. And I am walking, and it's all right. I get to a point where it was like, poof, and I'm going down the river. I was fine, Carlene, it's all right. Please let me go out hunting again. And I'm thinking, jingos, this is cold and this is swift. And so my little legs are going like this as I'm being swept down to get to the other side. And I made it, and I was pretty wet, and that was cool. Went and dried off a bit, had lunch, and did my hunt. But the thing is that I ended up separated from my hunting buddies. And so that night, my buddy didn't really sleep because he didn't know where I was. And the next night, same thing. And we still hadn't connected. But the thing is that there was a danger that was present that I could have avoided. And the experienced hunters will tell you there's no reason that you ever have to cross a river. You don't have to cross it. And so I should have avoided the crossing. I should have avoided the danger. But I'm a bit like, it should be right if I go. And then I paid the price. Because how many know that when I'm in the hut on the other side, I had to get back to go back? So here, the danger for us to avoid says, teach those who are rich in this world not to be proud and not to put their trust in money, which is so unreliable. Their trust should be in God, who richly gives us all we need for our enjoyment. You know, the danger that you and I need to avoid is that we would end up thinking more highly of ourselves than what we really are. Riches come from God. And if we get proud, thinking that it's us that has acquired this wealth, and we end up looking at people that are lower on the economic ladder in a lofty or haughty way, then pride can set in. And so it's a battle, and he says, and teach those in this world not to be proud. Don't be proud. It comes from God. And so there's a danger for us to avoid. And I wonder if in the West we are more affluent than what we realize and more reliant on the resources that we have than we are on God. Is it rough enough yet? And so there's a warning. There's a danger here. Avoid the danger of falling into the trap that it's about you that has done this. Yeah, God calls us to be good stewards. He calls us to be smart. And he obviously gifts people in that way. But the thing is always it's from him, by him, from him, for him. Secondly, to trust riches instead of God. That's a danger. It's a danger. It's a danger to avoid. Honestly, when we were those interns, it was really tough. Man, it was tough. We made a mistake by not telling people in our lives how tough it was. But we had to trust God. It's funny that my sister's here. I remember 1 week we were like out. We were out. We didn't know where our next meal was coming from. And my sister at the time drove into the drive. You might remember this, Carleen, Heroinny Street. And she walked in with this like banana box of food. And they'd been away for a weekend, and she walked in with all this food and left that food. And I'm like, what? God, how has this happened? It's because of you. Because he's the provider. And so that's the danger to avoid. I love Proverbs 23, 4 and 5. It says, don't wear yourself out trying to get rich. Be wise enough to know when to quit. And I think we're experiencing this in this nation, this next part in this nation right here, right now. In the blink of an eye, wealth disappears. For it will sprout wings and fly away like an eagle. I remember being made redundant. At 19 years of age, I was working for Air New Zealand before it was privatised. I was earning more money than any 19-year-old should ever earn in their life. I was the most generous person because I had abundance. I was just like, I wasn't walking with the Lord at the time, so every drinks was my shout. Heaps of friends at that time. And then one day, about 5 years later, a friend comes out to where I was and says, hey, are you a ground steward at Air New Zealand? I was like, yeah, I am. Oh, they've just made ground stewards at Air New Zealand redundant. And so I went from famous Thursdays where every Thursday there was this phenomenal amount of money into my account into nothing coming into my account. I had to pray. I had to get busy. I had to get active. But God provides. So let's avoid the danger. The danger to avoid is becoming proud and trusting riches more than we trust God. And the riches can be gone in the blink of an eye. The second part is a duty to fulfill. Tell them to use their money to do good. They should be rich in good works and generous to those in need, always being ready to share with others. To do good, the verb here refers to noble and excellent. Noble and excellent. Good works. They're the good that we're to do. Noble and excellent. Not superficially. Not begrudgingly. But abundantly. To do good. Use our wealth to do good. The wealth that He's entrusted us with. And secondly, they're to be rich in good works. God does not intend for our material wealth to be hoarded or doled out sparingly. The key word here is rich, and it means abounding or abundantly providing. And so the things that He entrusts us with, the wealth that He entrusts us with, we are to be generous in good works, abounding in good works, really generous. Be generous is to be liberal or bountiful. The third phrase, the apostle even sharpens his focus more and he starts to go after it. He says, this is about motive. It's about motive. The joy, the desire, the want to be able to help others, to be generous in good works and to share with others, giving to others, not grudgingly, not cold or with hardened heart, but joyfully. And so there's kind of like this huge duty for us to fulfill. And there's always a tension for me with you, with this church, with my church, our church, Lifezone. Because I think that we are incredibly characterized by generosity. I really do. I honestly do. The generosity that I hear day in and day out, the generosity that I experience day in and day out is phenomenal. But we can't take our eyes off what God calls us to do when we're doing well in an area and then find ourselves having lost ground. And so we want to keep pressing into that generosity, that generous nature that we're characterized by as a church. And then lastly here, there's a development to consider. By doing this, they will be storing up their treasure as a good foundation for the future so that they may experience true life. Paul urges us to consider the potential of finances that are used properly by sharing our earthly possessions properly. Here's what he's kind of urging us to do. This is so incredibly, I love this verse. I love this chapter in Luke 16. It says, here's the lesson. All right, you ready? You want the take home? Here's the lesson. It's not murky, it's not cloudy, it's not difficult to understand or to work out. Here's the lesson. Here's the lesson. Here it is. Use your worldly resources to benefit others and make friends. Whew. Okay. Then when your possessions are gone, that is when you pass from now to eternity. That's a good way of saying it, right? I usually go, I had to, because it's who I am. When your possessions are gone, they will welcome you to an eternal home. Who is going to welcome you in heaven because of the generous nature by which you used your resources that God's entrusted you to? Maybe what we need to do is to go through not only our income, but maybe we need to do an inventory of our resources and resource by resource by resource by resource, think about, or toy by toy, and think about how can I use this to make friends so that they would experience the generosity of God and welcome me in heaven. You want to take home, you want an exercise for the week? Start going through your wardrobe. Start going through your shed. Start going through your sheds. It's a challenge. I told you it was going to be rough. But we're rich. God's entrusted. We're rich by nature that we have been born in New Zealand. So let's use those resources to share with those in need that they might experience the love of God in their lives. You know what, that's one thing, but I want to get practical. I'm so grateful for Scott's message last week. He did a phenomenal job, I thought. He talked about CAP. You know that we're CAP advocates here, but I want to give some details so that you know, so that you kind of can put this in. Scott did a great job of saying CAP is not just for anyone that's in financial difficulty. Scott said that he did CAP, and he wanted to do CAP because he wanted to learn to better how manage the resource that God had entrusted him with. And so here's the deal. CAP Money course is like 4 90-minute sessions. They've got these amazing coaches. Starting on the 6th. They should use big font like this Bible. Honestly. But you know, like, invest some time into learning how to manage your money so your money doesn't manage you. And as you sort out finances through some really good help, you will create margin to help others so that the others will welcome you into heaven. Colleen, you're going to be at the connection desk, right? Colleen's going to be at the connection desk. No drama. Just go there, sign up. Honestly, Colleen's sitting there saying, do it, do it, do it. Can I tell you that the number one stress in our marriage for years was finances. And after Colleen did CAP, the stress increased for about probably a year, maybe 2. Hated it personally. But now, there's so much love. But you know why? It's because we're managing our money. Our money's not managing us. And we're able to be generous because we've got a handle on it. We had to go through some pain. So I don't know what your income is, but it's a good thing to do. Don't think, oh yeah, I've already got that sorted. You might learn some stuff. And then you can be generous to help others. Hey, Father, again, we're grateful to you for your goodness. You are so kind. You're so generous. You do. I come back to that, Lord. You give us what we don't deserve, and you withhold what we do deserve. I thank you that you love us and that you provide for us. You see us. You know our needs. And so, Lord, I pray that we would be ever increasing in our generosity so that people would know your generosity and that you would be glorified. We need your help to do that, Lord. Would you give us your strength? Would you give us your patience? Would you give us your wisdom? Lord, our city is in need. Our city is in trouble. We know that you're the answer. And so I pray that you would free resource through us to see people come to know and love and serve you. For your glory I pray. Amen.